Greetings, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Strength Through Stress, brought to you by Top Virtual Staffing Solutions, wherein we grow, learn, and innovate. We would appreciate you guys to go ahead and follow us on all of our social media accounts, and feel free to contact us with any of the information identified below. So I believe this is session 17, right? So we're going to discuss what we had last time in terms of the review. And then for today's session, we're going to have stress and spirituality. And as always, we will have a new version of journaling, willpower, and growth mindset aspect. And as always, we would love for you guys to go ahead and revisit session 6, wherein we discuss psychology of stress, part 3, wherein we discuss critical and scientific thinking, metacognition, higher order of thinking, and the likes. And this is what it is. All right, so again, these are for informational and educational purposes only, nothing more than that. And if there's anything specific that you absolutely need right away, contact 911. Right, ground rules just like before. All right, so why we are doing these for free? Because we want you guys to go ahead and donate to worthwhile causes. Specifically for this session, that would be the Christian Counseling Associates. So if you could, feel free to go ahead and visit their website and support them accordingly. And if you want to support everything equally, feel free to go to our GoFundMe page. We would appreciate that. Okay. And then we also have these virtual town hall sessions. And with one of them, we talked about prevention and continued healthcare services during this COVID-19 situation with a medicine and a physical therapy. All right, do you have any questions, Miko, before we proceed here? Huh? All right, let's go and proceed. So let's do a review here. We talked about the focusing on surviving and loving yourself and how technology impacts our personality. So is there anything here that you want to discuss a little bit more about?
Yes, with technology, it's really helpful in contacting other people, and it's really helpful in a lot of things. So it can save stuff so you don't have to write down something, then put it in a drawer or somewhere safe. And then it also, it has many functions for us humans it has many functions to improve our lives and to improve our life. So, yes.
Okay, and that's all part of our personality, and I love that you are focusing on technology wherein it could be used for a productive and constructive use to develop who you are. That this is part of your life, and here we are, we're discussing it this way. And hopefully, again, we get to share it to everybody else that this is part of our life. So what we just need to be careful of is that technology does not consume us. That technology allows us to be better. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. Lovely. Great response over there. Thank you. All right. So let's move on to, not the Y journal. We can skip that. Let's move on to journal 18 regarding self-esteem, right? So is there any negative thought that you want to paraphrase and then identify a positive characteristic, or focus a little bit more on one of these?
I have this set of plastic connectors pieces.
Mm-hmm.
They're very small.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be built into a robot that has, and it has a lot of those little pieces. So I realized that I had some missing pieces. So I thought to myself that I can't really finish it without those pieces, or without that piece. So, and then, sorry, I'm with paraphrase your negative thoughts.
Okay, you're setting the stage. So you're working with a toy with
Yeah.
billion micro pieces.
Yeah, and then it has sometimes, well, I have to take it out, and then there are some things that it's connected on it's hard to explain. It's connected with
These
plastic.
micro pieces are connected to this frame that you have to
Yes,
take out, right? Okay.
Yes. And then sometimes it's hard to take it out because those micro pieces are sometimes pretty sharp. But then after I realized that I said that I can't do this, after about 8 seconds, I continued from that sentence. I can't do this. I can't do this yet because it doesn't have the pieces, but I can still enjoy whatever is left. So
in short, you're being challenged by it and
yes,
you have negative thoughts with it, but you focus that you're enjoying how to build the such.
yes.
And more power to you because you enjoy it. That's great. I was looking at it and I'm like, okay, this is a Miko thing.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, sounds good. Is there anything else that could you at least identify one positive characteristic of yours in terms of your personality?
One. Well, my positive characteristic or characteristic is that when I do something, or let's say I'm practicing for soccer, which I'm not a very super good soccer player, but yeah, I practice in and out. And I'm not my you know my basketball skills, they encourage my soccer skills. So when I'm thinking that my soccer skills are not as smooth as my basketball skills, I say to myself that they're different sports, and they are almost opposite. So
why is that a positive characteristic of yours?
when I think of those type of thoughts, I don't know, but it's kind of my instinct to keep practicing so I can reach whatever level I'm wanting to reach or needing to reach.
So your personality is that you want to continue to learn, you want to continue to develop?
Yes, persevering.
Sports. Okay. All right, great. And that's something that you cannot teach. That's within you. That's your human being as that's you. And other people can go ahead and influence you so much.
Oh.
At the end of the day, you're the one who has to go ahead and identify, I just want to continue to get better. Go ahead.
This also ties up to uniqueness.
Okay.
In self-esteem.
Okay.
That we all have these different instincts, different skills, different whatever you want to call it. So.
Yes, you're absolutely correct. Good, wonderful. Thank you for sharing all of that. All right, let's move on to willpower. So is there anything that you want to discuss here in relation to helping you develop a stronger or more advanced willpower?
Quality over quantity. Quality over quantity is kind of, it's helped me in a lot of situations, because if I don't have a good quality in my Lego pieces, say they're smashed together, they're smashed and I can't fix it. It's smushed together. But I have a whole ton of them, so if I don't have anything of that specific brick, specific Lego piece, I try and find something else that kind of fits in the place of that brick, or if that brick can be split in half, I use 2 halves to make it whole.
Okay. I think you're talking about this from a general perspective.
Yeah.
But when we're talking about willpower in relation to quality over quantity in terms of sleep, that's what would help. So that's fine what you were sharing there. But in terms of your sleep specifically, do you get the quality of sleep that you think that you feel rested when you go ahead and wake up, whether from a nap or sleeping through the night?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's what it is. I mean, obviously, again, ideally you still sleep 8 hours or longer, especially that you're a child. But the important thing is not only the 8-10 hours a day, but you get that quality of sleep. Okay? All right. So I know you're trying to grasp the quality over quantity with other things. That's fine. But this is about talking about willpower in regards to that. Okay? All right. Cool. Let's move on to growth mindset here. We go ahead and right the wrong. And how do you see failures? So is there anything that you want to right the wrong, or how you're seeing failures?
I see failures if the task or job is still incomplete, or if I know something has gone wrong, but it just sometimes when I know something's wrong, but I can't really figure it out. So what I would do is I do the steps. I would do the steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. And I would see where my mistake, in which step or which steps it is in. And then I read or see or build whatever 2 steps, 1 step it is. And then that's how I see failures.
so that it's not complete yet, that you need time and whatever you need to learn and take it step by step. Did I understand you correctly?
And patience.
And patience, no doubt. Which all of us, specifically me, need to continue to develop. All right, wonderful. Thank you for sharing that growth mindset. Now, in terms of critical thinking in the last section regarding personality traits, is there anything here that you want to discuss a little bit more, or with some of the things that we just identified regarding growth mindset and the journal?
Okay. I do have a question with intellectual traits.
Mm-hmm.
Autonomy. I'm not sure what it means, but does it have something to do with instincts? Something similar to that?
Okay, let's break it down. And you're talking about autonomy here, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's break it down. When you say auto, what does that mean?
Self. Or one, I think.
One. Okay. What else? What other words that starts with an auto?
Automobile.
Okay. What else?
Autobiography.
Okay. So that's why you're thinking about self. Okay. That's good.
Man, I haven't studied the prefix of auto.
Right. How about automatic?
Automatic. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So with all of the things that you did identify, they're all in one way or another related to all of that. The important thing with autonomy on intellectual traits is that your brain, your mind, is able to stand on its own. Obviously not literally, but figuratively. Okay, meaning that you can think for yourself. Okay, and that's where autobiography will go ahead and come in. And you're able to think for yourself. And just going back to what you said in terms of instincts or being automatic, that it's something that you can do easily on your own. Because with instincts, it comes easily. You don't have to learn too much just to go ahead and do that. Does that make sense? Okay. So with an intellectual trait of autonomy is again that your mind is able to process information on its own given what you have on the external environment and with your own experiences and your own thoughts and learning processes. And that's what you want to continue to develop in relation to critical thinking.
Oh.
So, and I know questions, and that's what it is. The elements of reasoning, you ask a question, and here you are to develop autonomy, which is an intellectual trait.
Oh,
Does
yeah.
that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
It's a what? I'm sorry?
About 95% sense for me.
Okay. All right. And then we'll try to capture a little bit more of the 5% to make complete sense for you. Is that good?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. Good. All righty. Higher order thinking. What do you want to create, evaluate, analyze, or apply? And how would you increase your level of awareness with your thought processes? And is there a problem wherein you're able to develop a hypothesis in relation to the personality of survival, technology, and all the other things that we have discussed in relation to personality and stress?
Okay. So how should I say this? No, sorry. What do I want to create, evaluate, analyze, and apply?
Mm-hmm.
What I want to apply is, and for last week's session, is survivor personality, or with something to do with winning attitude. Winning attitude. I want to, when I'm winning, when I won, yeah. I want to apply my sportsmanship, because after a basketball game, sometimes I don't say GG or nice move. Sometimes I don't say that to the opponents after the bell rings, and I'm talking about school. So yeah, and that's something I'm still trying to apply, or applying, not trying. That's something I'm still applying. So yeah, that's something I'm still applying.
Okay.
But
that's good.
I thought it would work here.
So with having a winning attitude, and that's possibly the most optimal, one of the optimal winning attitude is that displaying great sportsmanship, and that's whether you win or you lose, right? And that's part of your personality. And think about this in life, not only in sports, in life. Do we always get what we want? Do we always win in everything that we want to do and achieve?
No.
So we need to go ahead and identify how we can continue to get better, however we achieve whatever goals that we have set. And that's the winning attitude right there in terms of personality. Make sense?
Yes.
All right, lovely. This is great. Good job, Mika. Okay, so that's a good review from the last session. Now let's move on to stress and spirituality. That's what we'll be discussing here. So once we go through stress, especially for rather deep-seated ones or very harsh ones, is that we search for to life's meaning, okay, and hopefully we get to explore our spirituality a little bit more. So we go through life's challenges and we go ahead and identify a little bit further what it is that we are going through in the bigger scheme of things. So life's challenges, we try to find life's meaning with it. And in order to go ahead and do that, we explore our spirituality. And at least in the animal kingdom, if you may, at least from what we know, is that us, Homo sapiens, are the only ones have the capability to go ahead and think of a spirit or being spiritual. So again, that is hard to go ahead and measure that indeed we're the only ones, but at least in terms of, bless you. Speaking of spirituality, bless you. Do you know why people say bless you?
I don't know. God bless you?
Yeah, you know why? No,
No.
You don't know. Okay. They've identified that, and that's perfect. This is perfect because when that's part of spirituality right there. What it means is that there's a belief that if we sneeze, that a certain level of our soul goes out. And if you say, bless you, you kind of bring your soul back. Does that make sense?
What?
Okay. It's interesting that you sneezed while we're talking about spirituality, and here I am, I'm saying bless you. And then here you are, you keep saying bless you to people who sneeze without really identifying what's the meaning behind that. Why do I have to say bless you over when you cough? Do I say bless you? No.
No.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then in relation to COVID-19, that's why you are at home right now. You go ahead and sneeze. You did an elbow sneeze in order not to have droplets all over the place. But that's why we wear masks in this COVID-19 world, because we will sneeze out there and we don't want our droplets to impact somebody else. So that's the scientific component of it, the belief system of a soul leaving our body when we sneeze. And that's what it is in terms of spiritual exploration. Cool?
Yep.
What a timely thing.
Wow. Unexpected.
Yes, I know. All right, let's move on. So stress can lead to a deeper soul and growth learning process. And we go ahead and identify the meaning of life a little bit further as we go through whatever stressors that we go through. So from that perspective, that's what we are learning. And I want to be careful here that we are not saying that you need to have some level of spirituality or religion in order to work with stress. But this is one of many aspects on working with stress. Make sense? So as we process everything, the what? I'm sorry?
Yes, it does.
Okay, good. So as we go through life and its challenges, we try to understand a little bit more, where are we in the bigger scheme of things here? Why are we doing whatever it is that we're doing? So, and that's what it is in terms of having that perennial philosophy, wherein we transcend beyond cultures, religions, politics, and egos. That this universe is definitely way bigger than whatever it is that we're going through. And sure, we are going to feel like we're small or insignificant, but that's the whole point of it, is that we go look beyond ourselves, that it's a little bit more than that in terms of perennial philosophy of spirituality. Next aspect is spiritual hunger. So there's a quest for understanding one's life. Go ahead.
Can you go back?
Okay.
Please.
Sure. Do you have questions here aside from going back?
No.
No? Okay. Bottom line is we need to go look beyond ourselves, beyond our respective communities, that there's this bigger aspect out there. You want to call it God or Buddha, Allah, whatever. It's totally up to you. It's not for me to decide that or to determine that. But we just go ahead and realize that things are beyond us. All right, ready?
Yep.
All right. So going back to this, that we, as I've mentioned, that at least from what we are aware of, that it's only us human beings have this capability to really interpret and process one's life a little bit deeper. And that is why we have this journaling session, or part of what we're doing here, because hopefully that would help us to understand life a little bit better or a little bit more. And whatever process that we can do in order to get there, that's what we need to go ahead and do. So one way or another, we yield that hunger. Go ahead.
Are we starting at spiritual hunger right now?
Yes, spiritual hunger, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Is that clear?
Yeah.
All right. Next up is spiritual bankruptcy. If we don't have the spiritual guidance, then at times we would have a difficulty to determine what is right from what is wrong. And though I am not an expert on all faith out there, but from a spiritual point of view is that, can you really identify what's right or wrong? Or how are we guided with what is right and what is wrong? And if we are not guided properly, then we may have a challenging time to differentiate one from the other. And that's what you call spiritual bankruptcy. Good?
Yep.
Next is spiritual dormancy. So dormancy, from the root word dormant, that there's no progress. That we go ahead and recognize that it's not important. Or we go ahead and identify there's no such thing as a spirit. So I am not here to dictate on you whether you have a spirit or not. That's not my point. My point is that for certain human beings, and you could say majority of human beings, will have this yearning to learn more. But there are people that they will recognize it's not important. And as we continue to evolve as human beings, I myself have gone through this. And there's a time of my life that I really don't care about my spirituality. I just need to do what I needed to do, and that's it. And then things happen, you go through life, and I'm beyond this. I'm not going to say I'm a better person or not. Hopefully I am. But as we go through our existence, we will go through this ebb and flow, if you may, on where we are regarding our spirituality. Next is transcendence. The meaning of life, of actually looking at why are we here? The age-old question that could easily be answered and just accept the answers, or we really dive deeper. So go beyond of whatever it is that we're doing in our day-to-day life. And hopefully we move to a higher order of existence and not just taking this physical space in my chair right now and hitting my fan. All right. That there is more to whatever it is that we're doing. And for me, I know I've identified earlier regarding why we're doing this for free is that hopefully, again, this could impact other people out there in a positive way. More importantly, the person yawning here. Okay? Good?
Yep.
All right. So let's define what spirituality is. There's no strict definition on how it would be. And if you want to use at least one type of definition, it's a total harmony of what we can perceive in our environment and even within, and the non-perceptual stuff that's beyond our senses, so that you are at whole or at peace with your being of existence. And that's what spiritual definition is. The definition of being spiritual. But again, even this specific type of definition is very limited. And it's not going to encompass exactly what spirituality is. In short, it's very hard to define. Go ahead, Miko.
Is it non-perceptual two words?
Non-perceptual? Yes, it's combined.
Oh, it's combined?
Yeah, non-perceptual, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Thank you for clarifying. Speaking of harmony, we want to make sense of things. All right, we're good?
Yep.
All right. So, let's identify a little bit more. Spirituality and religion. You can use an analogy that spirituality is any type of water that's flowing or contained or what have you. And religion is the one that redirects the flow of the stream or the river or contained in a lake or in a cup. In short, spirituality or the soul is water, and whatever contains that or whatever directs that water flow, that's where religion will go ahead and come in, wherein how your soul or spirit is being directed as we go through life. So that's what it is in terms of spirituality and religion. Questions here? Good?
No questions.
Go ahead.
No questions.
No? Oh, okay. All right. So let's move on to theories of personality. Psychospirituality is wherein we're studying both the mind and the soul together. And sure, I'm using the physical brain itself here, but is it possible that we have that soul embedded in there? And another analogy that you can think of here is, think about it in terms of computers. We have this physical computer here. And is the soul or the programs that's embedded in it? You can't physically identify it. But it's the processes wherein the computers and over through the internet and so on and so forth, technology will go ahead and come in. So that's what we are studying in psychospirituality according to Carl Jung, wherein we are connecting the mind and the soul. And more about Carl Jung is that the conscious mind is related to the collective unconscious. And when you say collective unconscious, and this is as good image as you can use, is that we are connected with one another in this collective unconscious. And remember from what's identified earlier, that these connections that we have with other people is not only from a physical point of view, but also mental, that we cannot see, feel, or hear. That it's beyond our perception. And through collective unconscious is in, for example, wherein we have dreams. So here we are, as you can see, the birds can move from one to the other as an illustration, if you may, of how we are connected with one another. Let's move on to the next theory of personality, of spirituality, I mean. We have the hierarchy of spiritual growth. So, as I mentioned earlier, there were times in my life wherein I could not care less about religion or faith. There are times wherein faith is very important for me. So, let's go through these hierarchy. The first one is chaotic
Can you go back real quick?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So one of the stages, or first stage, if you may, is a chaotic antisocial, wherein there's no spirit, if you may. So when you go ahead and discuss, for example, drinks with spirits on it, or seltzer, that when you go ahead and pour it, it's sparkly and bubbly, right, Miko? You understand what I'm saying in terms of the spirit of the drink? And that's what it is, that we lack that bubble, if you may, or the pizzazz to go ahead and be who we are. So the spiritual essence is lacking from a chaotic, antisocial hierarchy, according to Peck. And then the next stage is formal, institutional. So your growth is based on your comfort level of what religious institution is out there. So I have chosen this because this is the influence that I have, that we have. So I'm not going to go ahead, sorry, to be clear, I'm not going to say this faith or religion is better than the others. But that's what it is, maybe because that's my comfort level, because I grew up in a Catholic school, in a Catholic country, in Philippines, and that's kind of what's carried on. But I'm always wanting to go ahead and learn from other faiths out there. Not to influence one or the other, or trying to go ahead and say one's better than the other, but it's just learning from each other of what their belief systems are and how it's guiding us as we go through life. And the reason why I'm sharing this specifically is because on the next stage, or one of the stages, is the skepticism of spirituality. That you go ahead and say no, or you can't equate whatever it is that you're doing to these religious teachings. So as I mentioned earlier, that sure, I grew up in these Catholic schools and universities, but there are so many things wherein I question a lot in terms of the outward behavior and thought processes of the people around me. And that was a struggle for me growing up. I'm not going to say I'm an angel. Far from it. I'm not going to say I'm a saint. Far from it. However, it's very difficult for me to have this religious surroundings, and there's a lot of hypocrisy, if you may, that's going on. But as I go ahead and go through stages of spirituality, wherein the last stage is that of being mystical and communal, wherein you continuously seek life answers. And as I go back to what I was sharing earlier, is that I love hearing and conversing with others with different faith, of understanding where they're coming from, of why that is their passion, and so on and so forth. And that's what it is, the communal component, not only the community in my faith, within my faith, but the community of other people's faith as well, of understanding or trying to understand and comprehend all of that. But even within my own religion itself, there's still so much room to grow and learn. Cool? All right. So, let's review. Is there anything, any major points that you want to go ahead and share?
I'm not sure if this, it doesn't have anything to do, well, it kind of does, but you're going with the speed of light.
Oh, was I still going a speed of light? Really? I thought I was already.
Or it's just, Hang on. Oh, sorry. It's just you're putting a lot of stuff on what you're typing. So.
There's a lot of verbiage, yes.
Yes.
Spirituality is, you put a lot of words, but at the same time, no matter how many words you type in, it will not encompass what it is. So that's what it is, wherein we have these stressors, we have the spirituality and religion. At least you captured that. That's what we're discussing. Yes, no?
Yes.
Okay, so that's the major umbrella of what we're discussing. So the previous weeks, we were discussing about personality and stress. Now we're tackling spirituality here. Okay. And then we discussed a little bit more regarding spirituality, where we have this collective unconscious and spiritual growth. Or maybe I was slowing down, but I know there's a lot of possible technical terms that you may have never heard of. Is that a possibility as well? And I know this is deep.
Or it's just I'm being distracted by whatever words you're saying.
You are distracted by my words. Well, that's not good. What do you mean by you're distracted by my words?
When you're talking and I'm typing, I'm trying to get as much information while typing what I'm typing.
All right. Well, okay. That's fine. And pretty much this is what our process has been through ever, right? So maybe you can just go ahead and review this afterwards. Is that good? Speaking of review?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Cool. Again, the importance of journaling, and this would help us. So let's move on to Journal 19. Archetypes. We are drawn to a specific symbol or form or archetype, and sometimes they show up in dreams. And I think I missed to go ahead and copy that. But an archetype are universal symbols from each societies that's available out there that they give meaning to. And sometimes these are perceived or taken from dreams, wherein we are all connected. All people around the world are connected in this way, that we dream through that. And that's what it is in terms of archetypes. So for example, for me, I'm drawn to a cross, or a cross is familiar to me because that's where I have grown up and that's what I have been bombarded with. And so that's a form that is something that I can really make sense of. I really don't think I have dreams regarding crosses, but sometimes that's what it is and how we're communicating with ourselves. So for next week, I want you to identify what forms or symbols that you can think of that you can relate to, okay? Let's move on to willpower. That we need to find ways to relax, to restore willpower. Just like with exercising, we need to go ahead and sleep and rest and recover. The same thing with the willpower of the mind. But it's not a matter of just watching endless TV. And sometimes I'm guilty of that. But what it is that we have been talking about the importance of breathing, of slowing the breath down, and having that quality of sleep. Correct?
Yes.
All right. And that's what it is. So that our blood pressure drops, well, or slows down. And then we want to release the muscle tension. So right now, Miko, for example, I want you to grip your fist as hard as you can. And then release. Okay, then release. All right, and do it again. Then do it again. Tighten your body up, and then release. And sometimes that's what it is that we need to do. So to restore willpower is to be able to relax our body and slow things down. Good? All right, let's move on to growth mindset. We own our failures, and that us blaming and cheating is not necessarily the best way to go through life. And as we go through life and learn our success, that we own our own failures. And own not to beat us down, but own so that we can identify what we can continue to get better with and improve. Make sense?
Yes.
All right. Okay, so Mika, care to invite everyone to these sessions?
We have this class, Strength Through Stress, at Sunday, 5 p.m. ET. Life and Learner Success later at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Workout Buddy on Fridays, 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time, and Happy Hour Video Game Scrabble. Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern Time.
All right. So we appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully you learned something substantial as we go and gain our strength through stress. And we appreciate all the references that we have here. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for watching, and I hope you found this video informational and educational. Please share our videos and subscribe to our channel. If not, my dad will not give me dessert.